Hold on, because what just dropped about the Cowboys and Jerry Jones is going to flip everything you thought you knew about this team. And before we dive in, smash that subscribe button right now, because I'm bringing you Cowboys news the second it breaks. And trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming this season. An NFL legend just made a prediction about our rookie that has the entire league talking, and what he said about Jerry Jones is something the haters absolutely do not want to hear. So let's get into this because the timing could not be more perfect. Tyrann Mathieu dropped a bomb that nobody saw coming, and I mean nobody had this on their bingo card, especially with the schedule about to release. The Honey Badger himself, a Super Bowl champion and All-Pro and one of the most respected voices in football, just went on record saying that Caleb Downs is going to win Defensive Rookie of the Year this season. Now let that sink in for a second because this isn't some random hot take artist trying to get clicks. This is a guy who has seen every level of success in this league, and he's putting his name behind our guy. But here's where it gets even crazier, and this is the part that's going to make you want to run through a wall. Mathieu didn't just talk about Caleb Downs, he talked about Jerry Jones, and what he said is going to shock every single person who spends their time trashing our owner online. The Honey Badger straight up admitted that playing for the Dallas Cowboys, and specifically playing for Jerry Jones, was a dream of his, and apparently Patrick Peterson felt the exact same way. Think about that for a second because we're talking about two elite defensive backs who had incredible careers and could have gone anywhere. But they wanted to be Cowboys, they wanted to play for Jerry. Now I know what some of you are already typing in the comments, oh great, another Jerry Jones defender. But hold on, because I'm not saying the man is perfect. Let me be clear, Jerry has made mistakes, and some of them were costly. The way he handled the Dak Prescott contract situation from the beginning was absolutely a mess. Making Dak wait, forcing the franchise tag, letting it drag out, and destroying our salary cap flexibility in the process, that right there might have been the single biggest obstacle between us and another Super Bowl run. I'm not going to sugarcoat it because Jerry got outplayed in that negotiation, and now we're living with the consequences of that decision. And this is a huge but just because Jerry made mistakes as a general manager doesn't erase the fact that he has built something special in Dallas that players around the league recognize and respect. You don't have to take my word for it, you just heard it from Tyrann Mathieu, a guy who won a Super Bowl in Kansas City, one of the best-run organizations in football, and he still looked at Dallas as the ultimate destination. What Mathieu said next is what really matters for Caleb Downs and for this defense going forward. He laid out his expectations, and they're not small. He's predicting around 100 tackles, 3 sacks, and 3 interceptions for Downs this season. Now some people might hear that and think, okay, that's a solid rookie year, but I actually think that might be setting the bar a little low for what this kid is capable of. Don't get me wrong, those are impressive numbers, and if Caleb hits those marks, he's absolutely in the conversation for Defensive Rookie of the Year, but I've seen enough from this kid in college to know he's got the talent to exceed that. The real question is whether the defense around him is going to be good enough to put him in position to make those plays. And here's where things get interesting because the narrative around this defense is about to flip completely. Last season, our defense was historically bad, and I'm not exaggerating when I say historically bad. We got shredded by teams, we should have dominated, we couldn't stop the run, we couldn't get pressure, and we made average quarterbacks look like Hall of Famers. It was painful to watch, and every single one of us felt that frustration week after week. But here's what nobody is talking about, and this is the key to everything. When a defense goes from historically bad to even just average, the individual players on that unit are going to rack up accolades like crazy. The media loves a turnaround story, and if this defense jumps from bottom 5 to top 15, which I absolutely believe is going to happen, then guys like Caleb Downs, Micah Parsons, and others are going to be drowning in awards and recognition. I'm calling it right now, and you can bookmark this video because I'm that confident. This defense is going to finish between 10th and 15th in total defense this season, and that is the floor, not the ceiling. Think about how easy the narrative writes itself for the media. They're going to say, look at what the Dallas Cowboys did. They went from a defense that couldn't stop anybody to a legitimate top-half unit, and Caleb Downs was a huge part of that transformation. Add in the fact that he's playing in the biggest spotlight in all of sports under the brightest lights, with Jerry Jones rolling out the red carpet for him, and you've got the perfect recipe for Defensive Rookie of the Year. Mathieu even touched on this, and he nailed it. He said Jerry is going to market Caleb the right way, put him in the perfect jersey number, make sure the memorabilia is ready, and basically treat him like the star he's going to become. All Caleb has to do is show up, be himself, and let Jerry handle the rest. That's the advantage of playing in Dallas that other rookies in other cities just don't get, and whether people want to admit it or not, that matters in today's NFL. Now let's get back to the Jerry Jones conversation, because this is where things get really spicy, and I need you to hear me out on this. I see so many fans online acting like victims, talking about how we're never going to win because of Jerry, how he's ruining the franchise, how we should just give up and accept mediocrity. That kind of talk is weak, and it's not what being a Cowboys fan is about. Yeah, Jerry made mistakes in the past, especially in that stretch from the early 2000s to the mid-2010s when he was trying to do everything himself and it backfired. But something has changed over the last year and a half, and if you've been paying attention, you can see it clear as day. The front office has evolved, Stephen Jones is taking on more responsibility, Mike McCarthy has more input, and most importantly, we brought in people like Mike Zimmer who know how to build a defense. Jerry finally put his pride aside and let the right people do their jobs, and that shift is the reason we're about to see this team take off. The Cowboys are getting their swagger back, and players around the league are starting to notice. When a guy like Tyrann Mathieu says he wanted to play for Jerry Jones, that tells you everything you need to know about the perception of this organization. When Patrick Peterson says the same thing, that's not a coincidence, that's a pattern. These are players who have been to the mountaintop, who have seen what winning organizations look like, and they still view Dallas as the premier destination. That's not because of the stadium or the star on the helmet alone. It's because Jerry has created an environment where players know they're going to be taken care of, both on and off the field. The marketing opportunities, the endorsement deals, the national exposure, all of that comes with being a Dallas Cowboy, and it sets players up for life even after their playing days are over. So when people say Jerry doesn't know what he's doing, or that he's holding this team back, they're only looking at half the picture. Here's the part that some of you might not want to hear, but I'm going to say it anyway. Being a Dallas Cowboy is the best thing that can happen to a player's career from a business and legacy standpoint. You become royalty in this fan base forever. You have access to opportunities that other players can only dream about. You get to play in front of the most passionate fan base in the world every single week. And even when you retire, you're still part of the family. That's what Jerry has built, and that's what makes Dallas different from every other team in the league. Now, does that mean we're going to win a Super Bowl this year? I don't know. But what I do know is that we're heading in the right direction, and for the first time in a long time, it feels like all the pieces are starting to come together. Let's talk about Caleb Downs specifically, because this kid is about to become a household name, and I don't think people are ready for it. The talent is obvious, he's got instincts that you can't teach, he's physical, he's smart, and he's hungry. But what's going to separate him from other rookies is the platform he's on. Every game is going to be primetime or close to it. Every tackle, every interception, every big hit is going to be on SportsCenter and social media. The spotlight is going to be on him from day one, and if he thrives in that environment, which I believe he will then, Defensive Rookie of the Year is absolutely within reach. Matthew's prediction of 100 tackles, 3 sacks, and 3 interceptions is totally doable. And honestly, I think Caleb might even surpass those numbers if the defense performs the way I expect it to. The crazy part is that even if he hits those exact stats, the narrative around the Cowboys' defense improving is going to carry him over the finish line in the award race. But let's not get ahead of ourselves because there are still questions that need to be answered. Is the defensive line going to generate enough pressure to help the secondary? Are we going to be able to stop the run consistently? Can Mike Zimmer scheme up a defense that confuses opposing quarterbacks the way we know he's capable of? These are the things that will determine whether this defense makes the jump from bottom tier to top 15. If the pieces around Caleb Downs step up and do their jobs, then this entire unit is going to look completely different from what we saw last year. And if that happens, then not only is Caleb in line for Defensive Rookie of the Year, but guys like Micah Parsons could be in the Defensive Player of the Year conversation, and suddenly we're looking at a defense that can actually carry us deep into the playoffs. Now I want to address something that drives me absolutely crazy, and I see it all the time in the comments and on social media. Some fans act like playing Madden or fantasy football makes them experts on how to run an NFL team. They'll say things like, "Oh, Jerry should have signed this guy," or "Why didn't we trade for that player," without having any clue about the salary cap, the contract details, or whether those moves were even possible. It's lazy analysis, and it pollutes the conversation with bad takes. If you're going to criticize a move, then at least explain how it could have been done differently and be realistic about the constraints that every NFL team operates under. Otherwise, you're just yelling into the void and adding nothing of value to the discussion. I'm not saying you can't criticize Jerry or the front office, but make it informed criticism, not just emotional reactions based on what you did in your Madden franchise. The reality is that the Cowboys are in a really interesting spot right now. We've got a veteran quarterback in Dak Prescott who, despite the contract mess, is still one of the better players at his position. We've got weapons on offense that can score with anybody. We've got a defense that on paper should be significantly better than last year, especially with the additions we made in the draft and free agency. And we've got a front office that finally seems to be operating with a clear plan instead of just throwing stuff at the wall and hoping it sticks. Does that guarantee a Super Bowl? Of course not. But it gives us a real shot, and that's all you can ask for in this league. The margins are so thin between winning and losing that sometimes it just comes down to staying healthy, getting a few bounces, and peaking at the right time. We've seen teams get hot in January and ride that momentum all the way to a championship, and there's no reason that can't be us if everything clicks. Here's what I need you to understand about this season and why Tyrann Mathieu's comments matter more than you might think. The national perception of the Cowboys is starting to shift. For years, we've been labeled as overrated chokers, America's team, in name only a franchise living off past glory. Some of that criticism was deserved because we didn't get it done when it mattered most. But now we're seeing respected voices from around the league, guys who have won at the highest level, saying that Dallas is an attractive destination and that Jerry Jones, despite all his flaws, has built something special. That shift in perception is going to help us in free agency. It's going to help us in the draft when players are deciding whether to sign with us, and it's going to help us in the locker room when guys realize they're part of something bigger than just a football team. And before we wrap this up, let me say this: if you're not already subscribed to the channel, you need to fix that right now, because we're covering every single Cowboys move, win-loss rumor, and storyline as it happens. And we're doing it without the doom and gloom that you see everywhere else. I'm not here to tell you the sky is falling every time we lose a game, and I'm not here to blow smoke and pretend everything is perfect when it's not. I'm here to give you real talk from a real fan who wants to see this team succeed just as much as you do. So hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and let's build this community together, because something special is brewing in Dallas and you're going to want to be part of the ride. So let's bring it all together, because this is what matters most. Caleb Downs is about to step into one of the most high-pressure situations a rookie defender can face, and he's going to have every opportunity to shine. Tyrann Mathieu, a guy who knows what it takes to succeed at the highest level, believes Caleb is going to win Defensive Rookie of the Year, and gave us a realistic stat line to back it up. The Cowboys' defense is going to make a massive leap from last season's disaster, and when that happens, the individual players are going to get credit and awards. Jerry Jones, for all his mistakes as a general manager, has created an environment that NFL players dream about playing in, and that matters more than people want to admit. The perception of this team is changing, and we're starting to see the benefits of the moves the front office made over the last year and a half. This isn't blind homerism, this is recognizing the reality of where we are as a franchise and where we're headed. Are there still questions? Absolutely. Can things go wrong? Of course. But for the first time in a while, it feels like we're building something real and sustainable. Now I want to hear from you because this is where the conversation really gets good. Do you think Caleb Downs is going to win Defensive Rookie of the Year? Do you agree with Mathieu's stat predictions, or do you think he's going to do even better? And what about Jerry Jones? Do you think he deserves more credit for what he's built in Dallas? Or are you still in the camp that he's holding us back? Drop your thoughts in the comments below because I read every single one, and I love hearing what you guys think. Whether you agree with me or think I'm completely off base, I want to know your take. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, because we've got a huge season ahead of us, and you're not going to want to miss a single update. The schedule is about to drop, the season is right around the corner, and the Dallas Cowboys are ready to prove all the doubters wrong. Let's ride with our team through the ups and downs, and let's make sure we're the loudest, most passionate fan base in the NFL. How about them Cowboys?